One of China's top disease experts has warned of the danger of the H1N1 flu virus mutating. Cheng Nanshan, who heads the Guangzhou Institute of Respiratory Diseases, says this is because the far deadlier H5N1 bird flu virus is endemic in the country. Cheng said the presence of both viruses means they could mix and become a deadly hybrid with a high mortality rate that can transmit efficiently among humans. Meanwhile, China's National Influenza Center has reported 8 cases of mutated versions of the swine flu, but says drugs are still effective against the new strains. A spokesperson for the center said mutations are almost inevitable in influenza viruses. The UN AIDS chief says 50 million people in China are at risk from AIDS. Michelle Sidibe has urged the government to do more to reach out and work with vulnerable groups such as homosexuals, sex workers, migrant laborers, and drug users. The UN AIDS Executive Director said he chose China to launch the UN 2009 AIDS Epidemic Update, partly to push leaders to work with non-government groups who he said often have to operate unofficially in China. Sidibe is to launch a new public awareness campaign in Beijing on Friday, featuring Chinese NBA star Yao Ming. There are 320,000 confirmed HIV cases in China, but the government estimates over 740,000 people are HIV positive. China's top climate envoy has said his country will seek binding pollution targets for developed countries, but reject similar ones for developing countries. Speaking ahead of next month's Copenhagen International Climate Summit, Yu Qingtai said it was unfair for all countries to be required to play the same role in combating global warming. He pointed out that most of the environmental damage was caused by developed nations over the last 100 to 200 years. The December Climate Summit in Copenhagen aims to negotiate 2020 emissions reduction targets for industrial countries, and it will also ask developing countries to contribute by presenting detailed plans for how they will cut greenhouse gas emissions. China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange has issued new rules on individuals' transfers of foreign currency into its currency, the yuan. According to the new rules, a foreigner or overseas institution is prohibited from sending foreign currencies to 5 or more Chinese individuals to convert into yuan on a single day or on consecutive days. Meanwhile, Bloomberg News Service reports that Hong Kong residents will not be allowed to buy more than 20,000 yuan a day. The currency regulator said the new rules hope to promote a standardized foreign exchange environment and to reduce irregular capital flows. North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-il, has called the friendship between his country and China as unbreakable. Speaking during a visit by China's defense minister, Liang Guangli, Kim said this friendship was a treasure inherited from the older generations of leaders. China's chairman Mao Zedong once described relations between the two countries as being as close as lips and teeth. But ties have become strained in recent years. China is opposed to North Korea's atomic weapons ambitions and responded to a test in May by backing UN Security Council sanctions against North Korea. The United States is to impose up to 15% tariffs on certain imported Chinese steel pipes as sanctions for alleged unfair subsidies. The pipes are used to deliver oil and gas in the oil industry. The department said that from 2006 to 2008, imports of such pipes from China increased by over 200%. The business was valued at $2.6 billion last year. China has called the move protectionist and said it will take measures to seriously protect the interests of the domestic industry. In September, the United States announced it would slap duties on Chinese-made tires to protect the local U.S. industry, sparking the first major trade spat under Barack Obama's presidency. Poor visibility is delaying hundreds of domestic and international flights at Beijing Capital Airport following several days of air pollution. An airport statement attributed the poor visibility to what it called heavy fog that reduced visibility to as little as 50 yards. Flight delays, cancellations, and even road closures also were reported by state media in other parts of the country, some of which were blamed on locally poor visibility. In Beijing, official data has shown air quality readings of slightly polluted in recent days. However, an air quality index published on Twitter by the U.S. Embassy has shown long stretches of hazardous pollution levels over the same period. And that's the BON headlines for now, but we'll be back with more news after this.